Brother Nashi, how are you? I have stepped up, my brother, because I want to give you a reflection of my own story. For argument's sake, I'm going to say that I stay in Umhlanga. When I look back, when I think about my father, sometimes I feel sad, sometimes I am happy that my father is gone. I'm going to change the locations where I stay, where we grew up staying, so that people won't know who exactly is talking. My father, he was a good man, a good Christian man, according to others. But the things that we found out when my father started to get sick, I really do not even know what it means to be a good Christian man anymore. I was raised in the Jehovah's Witness, but I am now going to the ZCC church. I was raised in the Kingdom Hall. My father was a respected elder in the Jehovah's Witness community. We grew up mainly on the Watchtower, Awake magazines. We did not believe, never believed in the ancestors, because we said that the ancestors, they are demonic. You'll be speaking with the people that have already gone, and those that come back saying that it's me, Chris, your relative. It is not really your relative, but it is a demon from hell that is just trying to imitate what your relative used to say. We did not believe in Mutim. We certainly did not believe or want to associate ourselves with traditional churches like your ZCC Christian church. To us, those people who would be going to that church, dancing in circles, wearing their khaki suits, we said that they were spiritually lost. They were trapped in worldly traditions that had nothing to do with the Bible. I grew up as someone that was very judgmental towards other religions. Only after my father started to get so sick, that was when I started to know that the spiritual realm, it is very alive and well, and things that happen in the spiritual realm, they are so mysterious. One day we woke up and my father, he had a big belly, as if there was someone, like he was telling us that his TOKOLOSHEs, they were busy pumping up his stomach because he was unable to provide the blood to him, as he had promised them that he was going to be providing blood so that they can keep on giving him money. You know, growing up in a church like a Jehovah's Witness church, it is something that is confusing to you when your father, who is known to be an elder of a church, then all of a sudden he wakes up with a big belly, and you see that there is something that is pumping, because his belly, it will be moving and growing bigger and bigger and bigger, then it will flatten. And the time that it will be getting bigger, he would scream in so much pain, so much that you would feel sorry for my father, the way that he was so much in pain, and he would be telling you that the TOKOLOSHEs are here. They are the ones that are pumping air into my stomach, because they are saying that we are waiting for the blood. We want the blood. You promised us that whenever we work hard, you are going to give us blood. My father, he was a big man. He was a big transport guy. He owned a lot of trucks. Even though these trucks, he was not owning them all alone. He had other men that he had made a company with, and they were working together. My father, he had trucks that moved goods from Durban all the way to Joburg, to Mozambique, Malawi, wherever you think like. And we used to live a very beautiful life. My father, he had 6 kids. My father had 3 boys and 3 girls. We went to the best private schools, and we were like a perfect family at the Kingdom Hall. My father, he loved Italian suits, carrying his leather Bible all around, and he always preached the Bible to other people. He was an example that everyone looked up to, but we did not even know that my father, he was such a ritualist. We would move between Durban as well as Joburg, because my father, he had some offices and we had a house, but this was like a vacation house that we would spend our Christmas at when we wanted to spend the Christmas here in South Africa. But mainly my dad, he used to take us on a holiday. It was a very beautiful life growing up. But In Joburg as well as in Durban, my father, he had a secret room. So we just thought that this secret room that we were never allowed to enter into, it was a room where he kept his documents. One day when my father was not around, us being kids, we then sneaked into that room. That was the only day that I saw my father being angry. I had never seen my father as angry as he was on that day. There was no one who could control him, including my mother. He was so mad at us that he ended up slapping me so hard and my brothers and my sisters because we had simply entered into his office. He said that he did not want anyone to enter into that office, and my mom was not allowed as well to enter into the office. This office, he also had an office in Joburg. And what made us to investigate, we would hear some sounds of things that will be moving in that office whenever my dad was not around, as if there was something that will unpack the documents and start packing them. Like it will continue happening over and over again. And when you would go to investigate, then that sound, it will suddenly stop. It used to happen only when you are relaxed, maybe you are watching television, you are playing games, then you will feel that there is something that is going on in that room. Then all of a sudden, when you go and stand close to the door, then that rattling sound, it will just go quiet. So we knew that our dad, he did not want us to go to that room because he had his own secrets that he was keeping in that room. My father then passed away. My father, when he died, it was not a peaceful death. It was far from being a peaceful death. As a church elder, I imagined that when my father was going to be called home, he was going to die in a peaceful manner. But my father, towards the days that he died, it was as if he was living inside of a horror movie. It was very terrible to see my father, the way that he would be screaming in his bed. It reached a point whereby his relatives, they came and they chained my father with the handcuffs and they strapped his legs together. Whenever you would get violent, they would strap his legs together, and then we would wait for the nurse who would come to our house, and the nurse would inject my father, and my father will be like relaxed. But I think that they were dragging my father, the way that he would just sleep. Soon after, the nurse would have arrived and injecting him. It will go maybe for days, the drug will be working. Then after a couple of days, it will start all over again. Then my father, he would start to be violent. He always screamed, and he said that he saw people that were trying to look at him. But these people that were trying to look at him, they were looking at him through the windows. That was the most scariest thing. It reached a point whereby me and my siblings, we started sleeping in the same bedroom, which was a bedroom that belonged to our eldest brother. He was also afraid, even though he was much more older than the rest of us. We would take a blanket at night. When our parents would have gone to bed, we would take a blanket and cover each and every window, because with a simple curtain, you won't feel safe. You will feel as if those things that our father used to tell us about, the things that would be looking at him from outside of the window, they would also come so that they can look at us. Then on the day that my father passed away, in the afternoon, he called us to the bedroom, and when we entered in the bedroom, like it was smelling, like I don't know how to properly explain it to you, but the way that it was smelling, it was as if there was something that was rotting in the bedroom. Our father told us that he was going to die. We started to cry because we thought that it was going to happen there and then when we were looking at him. But he just said, "No, do not cry, my children. I just want you to know that I am going to die." And later in the evening, that was when we heard my mother. She was screaming on top of her voice. She was crying out loudly. My father had died in his sleep. The way that his face was twisted, it was so terrifying. He died with his mouth wide open, and we were told that if someone dies with their eyes wide open, including the mouth, then it means that they would have seen something that was truly terrifying. Indeed, it was so terrifying the way that my father was. This was the first time in my entire life ever seeing someone that had died. So my father, when he passed away, since we were from the Jehovah's Witness church, we had a simple, dignified funeral, no cleansing of the house, no traditional rituals, and we thought that we were protected by our faith, and we were wrong. These Tokoloshes, they do not care about the type of a religion, the type of a church where you go to. These Tokoloshes, they only care about the spiritual contract that would have happened between you and your father or anyone that is related to you by blood. Exactly 30 days after the funeral, our eldest brother, the one that was supposed to take over the fleet, he died in a freak accident on the N3. His head off, it was like chopped off the way that he passed away. His car hit this other truck, and they said that the way that he hit that truck, it really did not even make sense, because it was as if this truck just appeared out of nowhere, when my brother, of course, he was the one that was wrong. He was overtaking, but it felt as if my brother was being chased by something. Even when we looked at the footage, it was so heartbreaking and depressing at the same time, because my brother, he used to bore us when he would be the one that will be driving. He always drove slow. He made sure that he only overtakes when it made sense. He won't overtake just to show people that he was driving a powerful car. But my brother, he just died. 2 months later, my second brother, he drowned in a swimming pool. From that day going onwards, I told myself that I do not want to stay at a house where there is a swimming pool, because my brother, the person that was like a champion swimmer, all of a sudden, my brother, they found him at the bottom and his eyes were wide open, just like what had happened to our father. And in 2023, my third brother, he also passed away, but he had gone to a party. He was drunk. It was as if that spirit of death was the one that had made him to go and drink on that night. Maybe he was depressed because of the way that my father, he had passed away, and he said that he just wanted to go and relieve stress. They just found him, he passed away, and he had died. We had the funeral. Then we started to have terrible dreams. My sisters, I had one sister of mine, she was named after our grandmother, and she started to see our grandmother, who would come to her saying that she had came to collect him because they share the same name, and she wanted him to go with my grandmother to a place where dead people stay. When everyone would have died, then it means that you are taken to a place, and it came to collect her because they shared the same name. This was so scary for my own sister. My sister, she was taken to a hospital because they said that she was suffering from a mental breakdown. That was the last that we saw her alive, and she was screaming the day that we dragged her to the hospital, because she was saying that, I'm not sick, I'm not crazy, I still remember all of you, but I'm seeing grandmother. She's saying that she is going to come and collect me. She wants me to die. And then she passed away. When these things were happening, we went to the elders at the Kingdom Home. They told us that it was demonic harassment and we were supposed to pray more. We prayed and we prayed. You can pray until you do not know what else to say. But the moment that we would get on our knees, we would hear something that will be moving on top of the roof. When you are praying, it will start slowly. As you pray even more, then the person or whatever that will be walking on top of the roof, the footsteps will get louder and louder and louder. The trucks that my father owned, they started just going to Mozambique, and then we were being told by my father's business partners that they were not getting paid. I think that they were lying to us because they were now taking full advantage of us. That was the end of that business. My mother said, it's fine, we do not want to run this business anymore. And then she cashed out some money. It was like a big mistake. The money that my mother was given from the cash out of the business, it did not even do anything. I am now the only son that is left. I realized that the God that we were worshipping indeed is a true God, but there is another thing that my father did in secret, and I was supposed to go back to the root of the problem. My father, even though he worshipped a true God, but he had also had a contract with a different God. He had gone to a sangoma where he had been given some good luck charms and the tokoloshi, so that no one will ever think of hijacking his truck, no one would ever think of stealing from him. And there was a man who had once worked for my father who came to our house when he heard of all the funerals that were happening. I had been rude to him and I told him to leave, but he said something that was true. He said, if your father, the man that I knew, if he really had a tokoloshi, all your problems will only go away if you find a prophet or a sangoma. We later sat down, me and my mother through a contact. That was when we were able to see a man who visited us. We had to pay that man to come from Pretoria, and he came to our house. We were desperate. This we did in secret. You know, in the church where I used to go to, you care about what the elders of the church will say about your situation. So when this ZCC prophet came to our house, we kept him as if he was my mother's relative. He stayed with us for a week whilst he was assisting us. When there was anyone that was from our church visiting, he will just pretend to do some gardening chores as if he was just someone that had came from the village. At night, he would make us to pray with him, and he told us that there was a tokoloshi in the house. It reached a point where I was sleeping in the same room with my own mother. I would be sleeping on the floor. My mother would be sleeping on the bed because I was so scared. I felt that I was the next who was supposed to die, and my mother said, you can come and sleep with me in my bedroom. He then said that my father did not leave any inheritance. The house that we had, it belonged to a tokoloshi, and if we continue to worship the way that we were worshiping, we were going to lose everything. We had to speak with this tokoloshi to hear what is it that it wanted. It was in September. That was when the prophet told us that he was going to cleanse us. He did not use any muti or bones, but he used blessed water with coarse salt. He made me and my mother to stand in the center of the yard. That was when he took a blue cloth, blessed it with a prayer, and then he said that he was going to create a circle of protection, and it was going to protect us from whatever that was going to come and claim for blood, because our father had refused to sacrifice when it was time for him to sacrifice. He prayed for us. When he prayed, Brother Nashi, I saw something that dropped off from the roof. This thing that dropped off from the roof to the ground, it started as if it was a little man that was falling on the roof, but when it reached the ground, it became a black cat that disappeared into the flowers. That man kept on sprinkling water into the flowers. Then that cat jumped on the wall and disappeared. It just looked at us, then it disappeared. The thing that I saw on that night, I can never forget it. After that, that was when this prophet said that in order for this contract to be sealed, we were supposed to slaughter a cow so that this tokoloshi will never come back demanding for blood again. We were taken to our village, but we had to do it in my mother's village. When we arrived then there was a small gathering that happened as relative. We then slaughtered a cow, and the blood that spilled on that day when we killed the cow, this meant that our family is forever going to be protected because that contract, it was destroyed. That prophet told us that a contract with Tokoloshe, you don't just destroy it, but you give it something so that it can walk away with something. And I saw a miracle on that night. I saw something that fell from our roof and it became a cat, from being a human being, something that I will never forget. Since that year, I have been a member of the ZCC church. Even though I used to be a Jehovah's Witness, but I now go to the ZCC church. Brother, people might think that I am crazy, but me and my wife, we live a nice life. I married my wife, who is a cousin to the prophet who assisted us. She also came from Pretoria. As for now, we have one side tipper that goes to Mozambique. This is my confession, brother. Dear listeners, Revi was a message that was sent to me by one of our dear brother. Let us speak with our brother in the comment section. Strange things indeed, they do happen in this world. He said, brother, stay humble, stay hungry for the truth. Do not chase Tokoloshes. You will leave nothing for your children. That was another message that our brother sent to us. Let us talk about this in the comment section. I'll be back with another episode.